Hello, my name is Hamann. I'm the producer for A Chapter of My Life. In the last couple episodes, we took a look at a young Jim Galloway from Oxbow, a young boy from a prairie town, joining some rock bands and high school band and seeing what it's all about. Then off he goes into the world seeking to become a rock star. Jim worked his way up and he recorded in places such as Mississauga, Toronto, and New York. Now that Jim's in his early 50s, everything's changing. His style, his children have grown up. And with everything evolves, including his music. So let's see what Jim's up to now.
Don't you know every time it rains, pennies from heaven? Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Be sure that your umbrella is hanging upside down. Every time it rains, pennies from heaven. Don't you know every cloud contains pennies from heaven? You'll find your fortune falling all over town. Be sure that your umbrella is hanging upside down. Save it for a package of sunshine and flowers. Don't you know the one you love? It's got to be showers. And if you hear me calling, don't run under a tree. There'll be pennies from heaven for you and for me. You were singing to that one, Alan.
Yeah.
You knew it.
Okay, welcome to Chapter 3 with Jim Galloway. Jim, we first touched in in the first chapter of the program, I guess you could say, of your life, you as a teenager, musician, getting and playing in the Oxbow area. And second chapter was you in your 20s and being in Edmonton, Winnipeg, recording in Toronto and New York, and
Spreading my wings on the quest to be a rock star.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And now
100 years later.
Yeah, 100 years later, you've
I can't quit.
you're in your early 50s now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You're back in Oxbow,
Yeah. Yeah.
and your music writing now. First of all, let's. What genre would you classify it? Would you have a classification for it? This
For
is
the-
your style.
My style, I guess the diversity in the music that I've played over the years. I mean, anything from country music to, jazz. One of the songs we were playing around with, Pennies from Heaven. A lot of more of these complicated jazz pieces, to straightforward rock, to country rock, to fusion. I played in Las Vegas show bands, and I think, your influence over that many years and playing with so many different people, it sort of creates, who are you at the end? And I guess if I had to label myself, I'm a singer-songwriter, as well as a fairly seasoned guitar player as well, and front man. And the music I'm doing right now, I could consider it to have a poppy bass to it. An example of the album I'm working on right now, it's called These Are the Good Times. It's one of the tracks as well. But it's also, it's an expansion of all those years of what I put together, and what you'll find on the album as my accomplishment as a guitar player, as a songwriter, and lyrics and that sort of thing. But I think when I put this, working on this CD, what I wanted to do was have something that was standalone, have some songs that I could actually sit down and play at a house concert, as well as it would sound good with the production behind it. Very much so how the Beatles would approach a song.
Okay.
You know, when you hear a song like Yesterday, it's very good on the piano when Paul McCartney just sings it, or it sounds great with his orchestra too. It's
Right.
fabulous.
Okay. Some of the challenges singer-songwriters I've worked with and interviewed different people. Some of them, it's the tune is there,
Yeah.
and that's the easiest for them, and then they more or less they kind of struggle or have a little more of a challenge with the lyrics. Others, it's the lyrics, and then they have more of a challenge with working in the music. So
Sure. Sure.
Which is easier for you?
Musically for years, and the songwriting, it's like anything else. It's like your instrument. It takes a lot of practice, and I think like a guitar, or if you're playing musical notes on an instrument, I think the hardest thing you have to do or accomplish is less is better. Mm-hmm. And same with lyrics, and there's no set in stone way that you have to write lyrics, so they, you know, there's great writers like Bob Dylan and so on, but I think to accomplish writing lyrics, you it's like anything else. You have to spend a lot of time with it and really think about what you're trying to write about. And when I'm writing a song, it has to develop a picture for me in my mind. Mm-hmm. And the music takes me there, whether it's a minor sounding chord, major sounding chord, compared to a minor sounding chord. There's something about that sound. It'll take me visually to some place, whether it's in a meadow, whether it's in a sports car, whether it's, well, years ago with really nice looking babes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you have to think when you're putting together songs structure-wise, what are you trying to say? Not only lyrically, but musically. And how are you going to make that piece of art that you develop from the beginning and still have that crescendo at the end and take it away,
Right.
where they have the listener's ear. And view it like an art piece, a very good art piece.
Okay, there's also many steps in recording. Once you have your tune and your lyrics, and now you're going to record it.
Yes.
And you do a great deal of multi-track recording.
Yes, I have, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with it, you'll play the bass guitar, you'll play rhythm guitar, you'll play lead guitar.
Yeah, background vocals,
Background vocals,
piano.
and even your one tune, a jaw harp.
Thanks to you.
Yeah.
You gave me a present, and I told you one day I would use it, and we found the right song for it.
Right. Yeah. And
yeah.
So with this, how would you start the song, basically to record?
Different examples of that, and well, that particular song you're talking about, how it came about, and a lot of times it's the simple little things that you're not, you know, compared to I'm going to sit down and write a song, compared to something you just accidentally stumble across. Mm-hmm. And for example, that song that you Drown in the River of Hope, it was a song that came off a little guitar riff. And that's what kicked it off. And all that was, I had purchased a microphone one day. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to see how it would record in a garage band. Okay. So all I was doing, I was searching for levels. Mm-hmm. And my hands just sort of went up. I played this A minor position up the neck. And I recorded it, and then I listened back and I thought to myself, that sounds really hooky. Right. You know, you can go somewhere with that. So a lot of the songs that I've come up with, I will just, you know, things I've been working on for a few weeks, like a nice guitar hook. You know, I can go off something like that, or I'm doing that off the top of my head right now. You know, the jazzy swing thing. Start hearing some melody in your head, and I'll lay down those simple ideas, and then a lot of the time, lyric-wise, when I'm doing this humming, I'll catch something that'll go, it sounds like a word, a lyric I can put to it. And then that word can often start me on a path with that vision of what that story is going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that town or that tune, deep.
Drown in the River.
Drown
yeah.
in the River.
Yeah.
Starts out so simple and catchy, and then as you add instruments to it, it becomes more complicated and in depth.
Yes.
And it almost becomes from a little solo at the beginning and going into almost an orchestra.
Yes. Yes.
And then you add your main vocals, your backup vocals, and like,
drive it home.
And drive it
yeah.
home.
Yeah.
With the backup vocals, do you record each vocal separately, or do you multi-track one vocal and change pitch? How does that work?
What I'll do, I'll have my like that, for instance. Drown, drown in the river, being swept away with the one you love. Be content to begin with doubt, wherever you are, wherever you are. Drown in the river of doubt. That main melody that I sang there, I will go, drown in the river, drown in the river, drown in the river, drown in the river.
So you'll add those four different...
Exactly. And then the whole placement when you're doing it in a mix, and it's experience too from my years of recording with very good recording people. Mark Berry, produced David Bowie, and he was very good at layering tracks, and it was when I never thought of it before, and layering guitars and how, not so much to make this overbearing production, but how to use it tastefully to give a song color. And that's basically how I do those vocal harmonies. It's a stacking process of just finding, and then try and find where they just sit nicely in the mix above the main vocal so it's not overwhelming.
Okay. Your biggest challenge when it comes to your working in your own studio?
Is all, what I've found on this project is my other career and the time that it takes to do all the little production pieces. And my co-partner, mastering buddy from Winnipeg, he masters, they just finished a Loverboy album, and Al Huni, and I said, my hands are full here. When you start doing a project like this, all of a sudden I'm an engineer, all of a sudden I'm a mixer, all of a sudden I'm a producer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a guitar player, I'm a bass player, I'm a piano player, and not as though I want to be limiting myself to doing it all. Being in Oxbow, it's not like I can call over two or three drummers to come and help me out.
Right.
You can send files, and you can have people play parts on things and pay them to send a music file and get them to send back pieces and parts. But it's not a very intimate. It's much more intimate if you have other players with you, and
right.
So I end up doing. It's all those. Your hands are in dabbling in every little spot.
Right. And for you have a full-time job as well as with safety management out of Oxbow.
Yeah,
so.
It's a company we've ran for a number of years. It's been our bread and butter. Raising our kids, and that's right. Life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you call your music now a hobby, or is it a way for you to relax, or what is it to you?
It's a continued on venture. I don't know whether hobby is the word for it. It's just it's like a painter. I keep on thinking of artists and painters,
right.
and sometimes people, musicians don't give themselves enough credit. Like an artist can, drawing after drawing, and there's some sort of, that's what that person needs to do. They're an artist, or they're a potter.
Right.
And being a musician, that quest for learning more things on your instrument, becoming a better writer, learning new, recording tools, it's a lifelong quest of something that it's a passion. It's a deep-rooted passion that I can't imagine. It would be like losing, I think, more than losing a limb, or it being you know, it would be tough to lose that. I'm not sure how.
So music is a part of your life.
It's a major part of my life, yes. And to whatever degree, there was a time in my life where I was striving for that success with my music, and to get it out there. Now I still want to have it out there. I want people to listen to it and appreciate it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's just something. Once again, going back to that artist thing, I want to draw a picture that I'm proud I feel good, and then I'll go on to the next one.
Okay, let's go on to the evolution of a song.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Basically, this LP that you're working on now, long play I'm going with.
Yeah. I have a tough time figuring out what to call it now, because everything is a file. Like if you go to iTunes or something, do you make a CD? Do you make an album anymore? So I guess it's my album. I'll be traditional.
Okay.
Working on my album, my 10-song album.
Okay, you're working on your album here, and this album is more or less the evolution of Jim Galloway.
Yes. Evolution of Jim Galloway, and lyrically, a lot of things are coming out that have covered little pieces and sections of my life. And evolution of songs where, just what we were talking about, Drown in the River of Doubt, that song, how it starts out with a simple guitar part, right, and where it goes by the time it's all orchestrated and completed. And sometimes that song takes on, once I go from here and I start recording it, it takes on a whole new mind of its own, and I run with it.
Okay, one gentleman I had worked with many years ago, his name was Bob McMullen. He wrote a lot of music for CBC television over the years, as well as the radio. Yeah. And with him, I'd be having a conversation or visiting with him, and all of a sudden he'd stop and go, beep bop, bippity dip boop boop boop. Yeah, that's the note I need for. And he's thinking of another project, and he writes it down. Does this work with you this way too?
Absolutely. I'm accused of not listening by family members and drifting off, and yes, I'll have those musical parts going through my head. I'll be thinking of a bridge part for a song, and all of a sudden it'll come into my head. I know exactly what that man is talking about. Okay. You're haunted with it to a degree.
And does that work with lyrics as well?
Yeah, and a good example of that, we were doing a really heavy, I was recording with Jocelyn Brown, who had, she went on the road with Stevie Winwood in New York City, and we were in Mark Berry, and it was a song called Gotta Win Your Love. And we had this really pounding dance track that came up with this chorus, and we had the verse and the chorus, or in the pre-verse happening, and hours and hours, I keep thinking it was kind of a girl voice type of song, and we could not come up with a hook for that for the life of me. And we worked on it all day in the studio, trying to get a little piece, and I'd hummed a few things to kind of get us by through the track. And I got back to the hotel room, and it was, I don't know, on the toilet or maybe after a couple Heinekens down at the corner store in Times Square. But I just had this, da, 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 got to win your love, come back, contact, got to win your love. So I phoned Mark Berry, who's still at the studio. I think I got the hook for it, and I sang it to the phone, over the phone. He said, "That'll work. That's great. Get out here tonight." Well, he in his mind, he heard that vocal, and he thought, "I know the two perfect girls to come sing this on top of this tonight." And so I got to the studio, and Jocelyn was there with her partner, and I said, and she, "What do you got for me tonight, darling?" Just, I was in heaven with those two girls, and the voices in a room. We sat down in a room like this, and they started singing and vamping, and I just was, I think I've gone to heaven. They're actually letting me participate and sing with them. So we got singing that chant together, and that was the hook. But
you're saying this is at night. What kind of work hours did you have while you were recording?
The recording sessions that we would do, Mark was he was more of a diehard, a little bit older, and I guess a little bit tougher old bull, but he would start in the studio maybe 9, 10 in the morning, and he'd be in there 4 o'clock, the next morning, go home, get at the hotel, get a couple hours sleep, and go back at it. We'd usually hit the studio maybe 11ish, and go for supper, and then we'd be in there till 3 in the morning. You know, and if you weren't doing some kind of part on your own, you're trying to write, or you know, you're working within that time frame of money, budget, and you know, get it done.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. But
Okay,
it's quite a collaboration and an experience.
Okay, so you're basically said or told, okay, this is your deadline.
Yes.
This is how much money you're making.
Yes.
Do it.
Yep. Get the songs finished, completed.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, and that's the beauty of this process. I'm not under that timeline restricted by any means to release it at a certain time. I have my own goal over the next few months that, you know, otherwise it'll go on forever. You have to put yourself under some sort of pressure. And also, if you let a project go too long, and that was an experience I had as well, where if you run that span too long, you change musically. And some of the dynamics in your record, you know, if you let it go too long, they start sounding inconsistent with what you started with.
Oh, okay.
And, you know, so if you can give yourself 3 or 4 months, yeah, I'm going to have a 10-song album together. You know, if it goes 5 for me or whatever, 6 months, that's fine. But that journey that I'm on with this particular project, it stays focused. And when it comes out, it'll have some continuity to it.
Right.
It'll stay together. Then I can go on. Who knows? I'll be doing a Pennies from Heaven next album, jazz. That sort of thing,
right,
you know.
Right.
And then I'll get into that mode.
Okay, that's sort of like
Yeah.
early Beatles, and then buying an album 10 years later, they don't sound a bit
Well,
different.
yeah,
bit the
exactly.
same,
Sgt. Pepper's album compared to the White Album.
Right.
You know, or Baby You Can Drive My Car, you know, their early stuff. That, you know, absolutely.
Okay.
Can you imagine if that was spread over 5 or 6 years? It would have sounded really weird.
Yes. Okay, it wouldn't have stuck together at all, yeah. Come together. Okay, the name of your new album?
These Are the Good Times.
These Are the Good Times.
Yeah, yeah, and it's the second song I ended up putting on my project, and how it came about. And lyrically, I think it just summed up my whole journey from the music industry years ago in the 80s to my life, finding life, having my children, watching them grow up to be wonderful kids and off to school and doing very well with themselves, and being married to a beautiful woman for over the last 15 years. And putting up with me, right. And ending up at a time 50, and you think to yourself, you know, oh man, I can't believe I'm 50. But there's ways to approach it, I think, and if to me it's I feel at 50 it feels like a really successful stage for me personally and my family wise. I feel good about things, and the song "These Are the Good Times" it really sums that up.
Living here was never your destination. Thought we could stay a while, thought we could reconcile. Guess I was fooling myself, no thought or consideration. Stuck on this Ferris wheel, doubting the way you feel. Always pull through for you, baby. I knew that sooner or later things would get better. Somehow we worked it out through all the highs and lows. So many never make it, but our love it still grows. These are the good times. These are the best of times in life. Smiling through rain or shine, we can make it if we try. These are the good times. These are the good times in life. Some people I know end up longing for something else. once all the children are gone, now what do you got? Surrender the youth while watching the days go by. Be yourself, stay happy, be with the one you love. These are the good times, these are the best of times in life. Smiling through rain or shine, we can make it if we try. These are the good times, these are the good times in life. Taking it easy on another Blue Monday. What a beautiful world. Oh. Take what you got, yeah. You know you gotta be something. Oh, you've got to know. These are the good times, these are the best of times in life. Smiling through rain or shine, we can make it if we try. Getting better, things will get better now. These are the good times, these are the best of times in life. You're so beautiful, smiling through rain or shine, we can make it if we try. Just for a little while. These are the good times, these are the good times in life. These are the good times, these are the good times, these are the best of times in life. Smiling through rain or shine, we can make it if we try. Oh, these are the good times, these are the good times in life. Getting better, things will get better now.
Yeah.